Welcome everyone to Khenpo Tenzin's Jewel Ornament of Liberation series, episode 52. We will begin today's teachings with opening prayers in the Yellow Prayer Book, page 5. May all Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness in the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering in the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Suje lomba dabra jibe ge jaje jarbe jadang gu shanzar durjin janjin de lo naro dam marba mala juje gambo pamo juba jawan rugongba gaju lama namje da jun je danen den zera damje de lama labo la ye jiso zong la zong yong den jam zeng ala wan den de dong jin de be ge le zur da zu lo ju zong ro war zin je lab de zur chu lam de ro war zin je lab de lam zhu wa ze war zin je lab de zur zhu wa yi ji zong je war zin je lab de zur gang ge den jin re war jong ga ba me ba je ba me ba da me ba me ba ro me ba da de do me den je me zhu ba ne je je dan ba zu ba zang je ma nan je dan ba de la zhang za de zhen je za ba la ma ji je ku zong do ji xin lan da 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 ge ju lan be de do ge den ba dang sun jin je dong la bo jian zhe ba zin je la do zo. My friends. And today I will teach on the Jewel Ornament liberation. So we are on the 20th chapter, the bodies of a perfect Buddhahood. Bodies or kaya. So there are 3 kayas, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakayas. Nirmanakaya. So first we have to understand that when we practice Dharma, always we should recognize that Buddha nature is not outside our mind. As Venerable said, we don't want to search Buddha outside of our mind, but we will find Buddha inside of our mind. So how should we find Buddha inside of our mind? Is through meditating and then reflecting, and also listening Dharma, and practicing Dharma. So, but the only we reflect on Dharma and meditate on Dharma, it does not enough. So first we have to generate bodhichitta in our mind. So there are 2 kinds of bodhichitta, relative and ultimate bodhicitta. So relative bodhicitta has two, the aspiration bodhicitta and the engaged bodhicitta. So the aspiration bodhicitta is very important. For example, if we are going to the town, then first we think, oh, I'm going to the town. Likewise, we generate bodhicitta that we always think, I'm going to benefit all beings through our practice, practicing. So the aspiration bodhicitta is very important. And then at the same time, or after that, then we practice engage bodhicitta, which means we directly and indirectly benefit other beings. So in the Dharma practice means always we should benefit other beings. So this is our responsibility. And also, if we benefit others, then the result or the happiness or the Buddhahood. So temporary benefit and ultimate benefit, all of these benefits are received back to us. So always generate bodhicitta is very important, especially if we think that may all mother sentient beings have happiness and a cause of happiness. This is an immeasurable bodhicitta, because when we think all mother sentient beings, at that time our mind provides everywhere. So then at that moment our mind becomes immeasurable. So our mind become like a boundless space. In this space there are fire elements and water elements. Usually fire and water are enemies, but they both can remain in the space. So that's why they cannot harm the space. Likewise, if we have our mind is become like a boundless space, then sometimes we have good things, sometimes good things occur, sometimes not good things occur in our life, but they cannot challenge in our life. So the result of practicing Dharma is free from thoughts. So and then we reach the stage of the ocean of wisdom. So that's always we have to remember, and then practice Dharma. I think it's more help us to keep diligence. So today then it says, how does the Dharmakaya represent benefit for oneself? So as I said, there are three kayas: Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, and also there are four kayas, Sobhavikakaya. Then there are five kayas, is a kaya of great bliss. So, but all of these kayas are included, three kayas. So the Dharmakaya, when we teach Dharma, we teach through bodhicitta, through loving kindness through compassion. So that's where we always hear that benefit for others. And then sometimes we feel that, oh, Dharma practice means help others, not oneself. But if we help other beings, then uh, which means we help ourselves. Because when we help others, other beings, at that time we don't have self-grasping. So when we do not have self-grasping, then we do not have suffering and problems. So that's where here it says, how does the Dharmakaya represent benefit for oneself? Once the Dharmakaya has been achieved, it is the base for all other qualities, such as the four fearlessness, the 10 powers, and so forth. So four fearlessness are: first, fearlessness in exerting their own perfect realization. Second, fearlessness is exerting their own perfect abandonment. Third, fearlessness for the sake of others, in revealing the path to liberation. Fourth, fearlessness for the sake of others, in revealing potential hindrance on the path. So there are four fearlessness: two for oneself, two for others. So actually these four fearlessness are included too, which are fearlessness in exerting their own perfect realization. So realization is very important. So what is our realization? There are different layers of realizations. If one has a higher realization, that's wonderful. But one does not have a higher realization. First, we are going to understand the role of the karma cause and effect. So karma cause and effect means, actually karma means action. So we act something, and then the results will occur. So then we act through loving kindness and compassion, and then our action can benefit greatly. If we act through the self-grasping, especially we act through negative motivation, like malicious thoughts, then our action is negative karma. So then the result, we will experience suffering. That is the result of negative karma. So first we are going to recognize the law of karma cause and effect. After then we should recognize the nature state of phenomena. The nature state of phenomena is emptiness. So how should we understand emptiness? Is first we are going to understand impermanence. Impermanence, all phenomena are impermanent, because they, for example, weather. Yesterday's weather is good or different. Today's weather is perhaps good, perhaps not good. So it's change. Impermanence means changing. And also our body is our bodies are changing, and also all these mountains, rivers, everything changed. So that is we call gross impermanence. Gross impermanence. So after then we tried. Actually, we don't have that wrong view that all things are permanent. But sometimes we feel, for example, yesterday we see there is there is a flower. There was a flower, and today we see this flower, and we think it's same. Yesterday's flower and today's flower are same. So that's where we have an imprinting of the what to say the fixation or perception of permanence. So that's where uh, sometimes we cross the river, first cross this way, and after 5 minutes come back. We always think same river, but the river first we cross the river, that river already followed, already gone. So that's where we always have that thoughts. But we see in this world there were many famous people, powerful people. They all left, or they all passed away. So that's where we should recognize that every things are impermanent. But then slowly we focus in this subtle impermanence. Subtle impermanence means it's a moment by moment changing, but they are related to each other's. Related to each other's. For example, a house. We say there is a house, but then we a little bit focus about the house. That there is a windows, there are windows, there are doors, and then walls, roof, and floors. So that's where there is no dependently. There is no a house dependently. So that's where then through practicing impermanence, we will be able to recognize interdependence. And then we practice or more focus about the interdependence, we will find the emptiness. How should we find the emptiness? For example, we say head. So head means the ears, eyes, nose, and those jaws, they combine together, and then we call it call that head. But we separate ears, nose, eyes, and jaws, those things, then there's no head. So the through realize the interdependence, we will realize we will be able to realize emptiness. But these are the outer emptiness. But then only we recognize outer emptiness, we cannot liberate. For example, if I realized this book is emptiness, I can liberate from this book, but still I cannot liberate from the samsara. So how should I liberate from samsara? Is I'm going to purify my fixation. Because sometimes I think, oh, this is emptiness, and then this is emptiness. In emptiness, at that time I have this perception. So this perception holds me in the samsara. So where is the samsara? Samsara is also in our mind. Nirvana is also in our mind. So that's where we are going to be free from samsara, because we are going to liberate. Where should we liberate? We should liberate from our obstructions. So there are when we have obstructions, then there are fears. So in the Samhitabhara or the prayer of Kunduzambo, it says, when we have a subtle doubt, then we have ignorance. When we have ignorance, then we have fear. So because when we have a subtle doubt, and then we have hope and fear. So samsara means like that. So hope and fear. When we have hope and fear, and then we have attachment and aversion. Hope, we have attachment to gain something, and then we have fear, means we try to reject it. That means aversion. So if our mind is on the stage of bodhichitta, then at that time we are in the nirvana. If our mind is in the on the stage of attachment and aversion, at that time we are in samsara. So that's where for faithlessness means sometimes the Dharmakaya or Buddha freed from four fears. So that's where it's for faithlessness. To gain the higher realization, the Buddha has no fear. And also, now I said, we are going to purify self-grasping. And then we suddenly feel that, then how I can keep my life, how I can stay, how I can, how I can take care about my life, life career or so forth. So, but then Buddha has no fear, because Buddha purified obscurations. The obscurations are the obscuration of afflictive emotions and obscurations of knowledge. But Buddha purifies these obscurations for the sake of other beings. That's where some praised to the Buddha, and they said, Buddha, you always practice for others. That's where you became enlightened. I always try to work for myself. That's where I remain in samsara. So that is very true. Some praised Buddha through this way. So then for fearlessness, the 10 powers. So 10 powers means power. Usually we think power means something outside. Yeah, there are wonderful powers outside of our mind. But Buddha, he gained omniscience. Buddha gained omniscience means Buddha blossomed his omniscience, which means Buddha he recognized the nature state of his consciousness. So that's where Milarepa said, I do not see my consciousness, but I see wisdom. So that's where when Buddha arose omniscient from his mind, at that time, then Buddha recognized the very subtle karmic cause and the effect, karma cause and the effect. Right now we think, we understand karma cause and effect, but we understand gross karma cause and effect. We cannot understand subtle karma cause and effect. So the first power is Buddha has the omniscient, which realized the karma, subtle karma cause and effect. So this is the first power. And second power is the power of knowing the maturation of deeds. So maturation means which cause repents that result. Whether good result or bad result or so forth. So Buddha's power to know the those results. And also then third is the power of knowing the various wishes. So that means, for example, right now I'm trying to teach Dharma, especially this jewel ornament of Gamboba. This is a profound teaching, but honestly, I don't know your mind clearly. I can guess, okay, you are listening, whether my teaching is good or not. You have a strong faith, and you have the pure perception, and so as you have a great compassion. So that's where you are listening the Dharma for benefit others. That I can say, I can trust that. But what I can't understand, for example, like I can't understand your wish. For that reasons, when I teach through one way. I cannot give you like a medicines for patients. Some has the illness of some has wind disease, some has the flame disease, some has so they have different medicines. So doctors can give, but that I can't. Likewise, what kind of path instructions you want? If I know your mind clearly, then I can give this. But Buddha, that's where they say the power of knowing the various wishes. What is the different Buddha and us? Buddha's mind blossomed, so it became omniscience, primordial wisdom. That's where Buddha knows clearly. So that's where Buddha's teachings greatly benefit to us. Grossly, there are the Vajrayana and Suttarayana, and also amongst them in the Mahayana teachings, also there are different classifications. But in more details, the different practitioners need different path instructions, so it's not easy to give. So that's where sometimes it takes time to liberate from samsara, or it takes time to become religious. Anyhow, then the fourth power, power of knowing various dispositions. These are quite similar. So are you are Mahayana practitioner, or this Theravada practitioner, or Vajrayana practitioners? If you are a Vajrayana practitioners, then still these Kriya Tantra practitioner, or Yoga Tantra practitioner, or Anayoga Tantra practitioner. So Buddha knows very clearly which path instruction benefit you. Buddha knows clearly. So that's where Buddha taught. There are thousands, 84,000 scriptures. And then fifth power is the power of others' capacity. So this is also very important. Others' capacity, if we suddenly mentioned about emptiness, somebody is unfathomable. They cannot keep about this. And but some are ready to listen about emptiness. If we don't talk about this, then it's also not skilled, how to say, skillful teaching. So that's why to understand others' capacity is also extremely important. But Buddha has this power. And then sixth power is the path of liberation. Path of liberation has two. One is liberate from lower realms and attain higher realms. And then second is liberate from six realms and then attain nirvana. So only Buddha can do that. Only Buddha can do that. But only Buddha can do means at that, when you heard that only Buddha can do means like a Shakyamuni Buddha who attained Buddhahood in the Buddha Gaya, only that person or that Buddha can do. Maybe you understand like that. But Buddha means right now our Guru and Buddha are inseparable. So that's why our Guru can liberate us. So our devotion is extremely important. So who has a devotion, then all blessings, how to say, anyhow, the devotion is like a water to blossom the qualities of our mind. If our mind is like a flower, then flower needs water. Yeah. Likewise, devotion is very important. That's where Lord Jigten Sunggon said in the fivefold of Mahamudra, Guru Lama Kuyi Kanrala. So Guru has actually the Guru is embodiment of four kayas. But if we do not shining the sun of the devotion, then this snow. So it is the snow mountain is a metaphor. So Guru is actually embodiment of four kayas, which is like a snow mountain. If we do not radiate the sun light of devotion, that snow will not melt. And then if that snow does not melt, then the blessing of that water, we cannot get the blessing of that water. Lama kuyu kanrala muguchi nyama masharna jinlap chujum manjongbe. So sem mugundala nintinsu. That means the emphasize, how to say it, emphasize the devotion. So devotion is very important. As I actually the devotion in the when we arise devotion, there are different ways to arise devotion. But when you talk about your guru and listen, even you heard the name of your guru, the goosebumps, or you have the tails come from your eyes. So this is the sign of devotion. And the principal benefit is when you arise your devotion from your mind, at that moment, your ordinary thoughts automatically stopped. If morning to afternoon, for 3 hours, you arise devotion. For that 3 hours, you do not have any negative thoughts. So blazing means like that. Blazing means it's when you arise devotion and your mind is very peaceful, but seems emotional, but that is not negative emotion. But it's very peaceful, but very joyful. That's where in the some profound teachings in Dzogchen also says, how to say, joyfully rest on the Dharmadhatu stage. So always happy, it's no sorrow, no suffering, but mind is very relaxed, but still the how to say, the tails come from your eyes, tails rolling down from the eyes. So these tails are really nectars. Usually I say, oh, I have some problems, I have some, I am experiencing suffering. At that time, the tails come through our eyes. This emotion affects our life. It's forcefully affects our life. But when we arise devotion, at that moment, if tails coming through our eyes, so these tails are like a nectars. So there's psychologically, it's a very very helpful tales and feelings. So devotion is very important. Without devotion, then we cannot gain the realization that our mind and Guru's mind are same. Usually we say our mind and Guru's mind are same. Even our mind is Guru. So without devotion, only we try just to say it and perceive that it does not, how to say, we cannot realize that. So if we are going to realize that our mind and Guru are inseparable, or if we are going to realize our Guru is the Dharmakaya, then devotion is very important. Then seventh power is the power of recollecting former lives. Former lives, that means Buddha knows in your previous lives. Buddha knows their previous lives. So we don't know. So what is the benefit to know previous lives is then we trust more in the karma cause and effect. So we say the consciousness is like a guest, and our body is like a guest house. So our consciousness always travel from past life to here, and here to next life, in the Bardo and everywhere. So, but if we purify the obstructions, then our consciousness is wisdom. So then it does not collect negative things, and then we will not experience suffering. Then eighth power, the power of knowing death, transmigration. Transmigration, that means after next life where we will reborn, everything Buddha knows very clearly. And then power of the birth, this is ninth power. And then 10th is a power of knowing that all defilements are exhausted. So usually we can't only our Guru, we practice we follow our guru, and then guru gives us path instructions, and then guru say meditate like this way and that way, and we practice, and then we gain some experience, and then we should share that our guru. What is that? We ask guru, and then guru pointing out, oh, this is like that, and then you next year you should practice like that and those. So Buddha knows that we have how to say, when our defilements are exhausted, Buddha knows that, and also then for that reasons, the Buddha showed us the paths, different layers of paths. In the Mahamudra, there are 4 paths. Actually, we can say it paths as single-pointed, single-pointedness, single-pointed, and then simplicity, and one test, and non-meditation. So each has 4 types or 4 classifications, 4 types. Yeah, so total 12. So why do we have like these different layers? Because it's like a waxing moon. The moon, the how to say, rise on the mountain side is a step by step. It's increases. Likewise, when we purify our obstructions, then our realization increases. So, so that's why Buddha has 4 fearlessness, 10 powers, and so forth. So forth means there are many qualities, which gather as though they had been summoned. Summoned means called in. Furthermore, even if someone has not achieved Dharmakaya itself, those who aspire to Dharmakaya have a little realization of it, a partial realization, or nearly complete realization of it will have just a few qualities, many qualities, a great number of qualities, or in immeasurable amount of qualities. So thus we often heard from our gurus path instruction. So here it says have a little realization of it means Dharmakaya. So what is Dharmakaya? Dharmakaya means the natural state of mind. So little realization of it. What is that? So that's always we heard from our guru. It says when we are sleeping, just right before sleeping, if we recognize our mind, at that time Dharmakaya arises from our mind. And then also during the morning, for example, we wake up at the same time we feel that, oh, I'm going to do something, something. That is grasping. But when we wake up at the same time, if we recognize our mind, then at that time Dharmakaya arises. Also, Guru Rinpoche said that perhaps it's I mentioned too much, but it's very important. So Guru Rinpoche said that the Dharmakaya, actually it doesn't say exactly Dharmakaya, it mentioned Buddha. So the first thought past and second thought not yet arise. Between there we can find the Buddha. So these are the very important. Also, we often meditate shamatha. So we meditate shamatha. We close eyes and keep 7 meditation postures. This is not real shamatha. Actually, it's funny to say that, but then what is the shamatha? shamatha arises from these actions. So then when we experience shamatha meditation, that is also a little realization of Dharmakaya. And then it says partial realization. Partial realization means, for example, I can't say one thing, but I try to say one thing. Otherwise, there are different numbers of experiences. I mean, you have experienced, but meditate on bodhicitta, practicing bodhicitta, and ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta, in the 37 way of Bodhisattva, the last verse is in the part of dedication. It says that like an emptiness of three spheres. For example, you give small things a beggar, and that object, and you are non-duality. If you recognize that, then this is also you recognize that means you through effort, not effortlessly. If you recognize that, then that is also partial realization, and then complete realization and immeasurable. These realizations later it mentioned through examples. Okay, the respectively the qualities arising from aspiration to Dharmakaya are those of the meditative observations, clear cognitions, and all the superb qualities. Superb means really great. Superb qualities up to and including the highest worldly realization. So worldly realization, we already discussed about the 5 paths, so you know that. But then meditative observation means Tenzin. Tenzin means you single-pointedly but very lightly rest on a object. Your mind does not separate that object. So then that is a meditative observation. But there are different kinds of meditative observation. The Sharavakasa has meditative observation, and Mahayanas, and then this Buddha, they also possess meditative observations. They has different qualities and powers. And then clear cognitions. Clear cognitions means the differences are between the shamatha and the vipassana is, I think, the clear. They have shamatha. Actually, the authentic shamatha is union of the vipassana and shamatha. But we first meditate about shamatha is it has less clear cognition, but our mind is very stable. So sometimes we practice attributes shamatha, and sometimes we meditate shamatha without support. So anyhow, at that time we try to gain the stability. So we don't want to scatter our mind. So right now we say thoughts. Thoughts means our mind scatter everywhere. We are ready to watch something, we are ready to listen something, we are ready to test something, and we are ready to feel something. And then after we are ready to exaggerate, or then we have many kind of what is called that aggregates, fourth aggregates of form, aggregates of feeling, aggregates of formation, aggregates of perception and formation. Yeah, aggregates of form, the perception. So we have aggregates of perception. So when we have aggregates of perception, which means there are two kinds of perceptions, good and not good. So good is we see a guru or great practitioners, and then we arise faith. This perception is good. And then not good or opposite of that perception is we see good things and start to arise jealousy. So that's that's where our mind, we have one mind. Actually, we say we have one mind, but 51 mentalities. So in these mentalities, there are some good mentalities, some are not good mentalities. Why shall we say good or not good? Because some mentalities help us. Some mentalities help us in this life and the next life. For instance, in this life, if we arise faith, devotion, it benefit in this life because our mind is our mind becomes peaceful, and then our action becomes the good karma. Then result is also happiness. And then next life, we, for example, in the Bardo, we see yidams. So right now we have faith in yidams and our guru, and then during the Bardo, we these yidams and our guru appear to us. At that time we understand, oh, they are my protector, they are my guru, they are my yidam. Otherwise, if we don't have faith and we do not increase our faith, then right now we see many tankas, many yidams, we have many yidams, and we have a guru, but we don't have faith, don't arouse, do not arouse faith, and then during the Bardo, they appears. We are afraid of them. So that's where the devotion is important always. Faith is actually a foundation of all Dharma practice, including the highest worldly realization. Highest worldly realization means actually the path of accumulation has, and then after the great path of accumulation, after we gain the realization of great path of accumulation, then we will reach on the path of joining. So it has 4 classifications, and so then the 4th we call the highest worldly realization. So that means those realizations are like a worldly realization, but still that is the highest worldly realization. And then next is transcendent realization, which means we start to gain the realization of path of seeing. So the qualities emerging from a little realization of Dharmakaya are all the qualities of purification, clear cognition, supernatural ability, and so forth of realized Sharavika arhats. So this literal realization of Dharmakaya, which means there are arahats. Arahat means actually the who conquered their enemies. Who conquered their enemies means the Sharavikas arahats. Sharavika arahats' enemy is their afflictive emotions. So Sharavikas arahats, they don't try to purify obscurations of knowledge, but they always try to purify the afflictive emotions. So that's where they purify some afflictive emotions. Some means they purify afflictive emotions. So that's why they gain a literal realization of Dharmakaya. So that is actually in the Nyingma tradition and Kagyu tradition always say that we don't want to increase Dharmakaya. This is very important. The reason is Dharmakaya is always, Dharmakaya is always there. It's complete, pure, free from, freed from thoughts or perceptions or fixations. But then what should we do is we are going to purify obscurations. There are three kinds of obscurations, so we are going to purify them one by one. So this is a very important that if we are going to build a Dharmakaya, it's not easy. So that's why we have no worry about that. We don't want to build Dharmakaya. We don't want to erase Dharmakaya from mind, actually. The natural state of mind is Dharmakaya. But on the some obscurations covered over natural state of mind of Dharmakaya. So we are going to clean and purify those obscurations. But these obscurations are very temporary, impermanent. So that's why it's not so difficult to purify them. So if we recognize that and we know that, then we have more confidence. So then we can apply diligence easily. Then the qualities the qualities emerge from a partial realization of Dharmakaya are all the qualities of purification, meditative observation, clear cognition, and so forth of realized practical Buddha arhats. So Sharavika arhats and practical Buddha arhats, what is different? So they have different realizations. The reason they have different realizations, arhat, the Sharavika arhat, they purify some part of afflictive emotions, like a gross afflictive emotions. For instance, they can purify angry emotion. They could purify angry emotion, but they could not purify imprint of angry emotion. But then these practical Buddha arhats, they can purify imprint of angry emotion. So difference is like that. So that's where their realization is higher than the Sharavika arhats. So that's where this is important. Oh, they are Sharavikas, they are practical Buddhas. I'm Mahayana practitioner or Vajrayana practitioner. So this thinking is little mistake. We are going to respect all of them because they gained some realization of Dharmakaya. For example, when Lord Jigten Sunggung was in the with Gampopa, Lord Gampopa, so that's where Lord Jigten Sunggung visualize each and every Dharma friend's head. There is each Gampopa's form. So that's where he respect. He spoke, politely and respect. And then some told him, "Oh, this is thick. You are too much. How to say, like exaggerate or too much, yeah." But then he said, sometimes it's not called. I think it's exaggeration. Sometimes good exaggeration lead good realization. So that's where he always visualize the Gampopa on the head of every Dharma friends. That's where he could respect to all Dharma, his Dharma friends. So likewise, now today, whether my explain is I can't explain skillfully or you understand clearly or not, but here what should you know is, they are Sharavikas, they are practical Buddhas, so they are lower realizers. This perception is wrong. That's what I try to say. They have less bodhichitta, for example. They don't think too much, I'm going to liberate all mother sentient beings. But we start to chanting recite a few pages of Dharma book. First we say, may all mother sentient beings have happiness and a cause of happiness. So at that time, may all mother sentient beings, that means we thinking all mother sentient beings. And then another thing is, may they have happiness. We unconditionally generate loving kindness and bodhicitta, and then may they have a cause of happiness. What is that? Selflessness. So there the consecrations of all Mahayana and the Vajrayana, or all these profound teachings, is bodhicitta and non-duality. So the cause of happiness is non-duality. So that's where we had practice with profound bodhicitta mind. They may not. They think the Sharavikas, they think I can't liberate all beings. So then they don't do too much for all of beings, but still they do. What they do is they try to purify the obstructions. So that's where they have a little realization of Dharmakaya and a partial realization of Dharmakaya. For that reasons, we are going to respect them. If we respect to others, that means we respect ourselves. This is very important. Especially we are meditators. Without meditate, we cannot become enlightened. So meditation, what is the principle of meditation? Is mindfulness. That's where our Tara sadhana, it says, mindfulness of Mother Goddess, please protect us. So the real Tara is our mindfulness. If we really trust that our mindfulness is our Tara, then we really understand, Tara is inseparable from my mind. So we have mindfulness, then we protect us. How Tara protects us is like that. We drive car, if we be mindful, or there are traffic light, there's some cars coming up, some pass through this. If we drive car through our mindfulness, we are safe. That means how Tara protect us. Usually we think, If Tara protect us means we should see Tara with white color and some with lotus. That is how first we try to connect with Tara. But the real Tara is in our mind. So that's where right now I say Tara, but all yadams are our mindfulness. This is very important. Without mindfulness, then, as Lord Jigten Sunggu said, without mindfulness, there is no meditation. If there is a mindfulness, there is meditation. The head of meditation is devotion. So then the legs of meditation is renunciation. So renunciation is also important. Don't too much attach about worldly things. But for benefit others, then good. In the Mahayana teaching says, Bodhisattvas, great Bodhisattvas, they learn everything for the sake of others. And they have lots of responsibilities for the sake of others. But for themselves, they have no more responsibilities. They have no more things to do. So Bodhisattvas, if they are going to go directly in the hell realm, they can go. They go. They voluntarily, joyfully. Oh, today I have golden opportunity to benefit others. So if I experience some suffering, doesn't matter. No problem. So they always think. So also when we are talking about Bodhisattvas and Bodhisattvas, don't think somewhere, oh, the Chinese Avalokiteshvara is a Bodhisattva, and then Vajrapani is a Bodhisattva, but we are not. Don't think like that. When we talk Bodhisattva comes from bodhicitta. So where is bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is in our mind. So always be mindful and carefulness. These are important. And keep bodhicitta. Keep bodhicitta through mindfulness, through carefulness, and then patience, forbearance. So His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche always said that milk of bodhicitta only can hold the bowl of patience. So milk of lion's milk, snow lion's milk. Bodhicitta is like a snow lion's milk. So if we pour in ordinary cups, they break. But if we pour it golden cup, I think it's called golden cup, which made by golden cup, then it can hold there. So patience is very important. Patience also, it does not mean always patience between two people, between people to people. Patience are many ways. Sometimes one engaged some problems, physical problems, mental problems. Sometimes it's engaged about the circumstance, environment, weather. Even we practice Dharma, so patience is extremely important. In the ancient times, Kunchen Lungchen Ramjam and Malarepa and Jetsongkapa, those practitioners are really they possessed or endowed great forbearance, patience. So they can stay in the cave without food and clothes. For what? They have great realizations. If they just utilize their merit for enjoy, so they can. But they cultivate more and more merits. So for the sake of us, actually, for example, Gampopa, he did not rewrite this jewel ornament by these different facilities, but he wrote by his hand, and then at that time ink not easily get papers, But he wrote, and then he wrote all of his experiences. And he wrote this through his profound bodhichitta and compassion. And then he said, in the future, whoever feels that, oh, I did not see Gambopa, I wish to see, then if you see this book, then he said, this is the, then you can see me. Lord Gambopa said that. So that's always we practice for benefit others is important, but how should we benefit others is bodhicitta and compassion. So the qualities emerging from nearly complete realization of Dharmakaya are the qualities of purification, meditative observation, clear cognition, and so forth of bodhisattvas of the bodhisattva level. Yeah, these bodhisattvas, how they nearly complete realization of Dharmakaya. Nearly means bodhisattvas are errant yet, Buddha yet. So that's where it use nearly complete realization. Complete realization is the only Buddha. So then the two form bodies. Here they translated the bodies. Actually, we often use kayas. Yeah, two kayas or two bodies are presented in the way a benefit for others, inasmuch as there is the enjoyment of a body, sambhogakaya, that appears to pure disciples. And the emanation body, nirmanakaya, that appears to impure disciples. Oh yeah. So the this letter explain clearly. Thus, there are definitely three bodies. Three bodies. Three bodies means three kayas. Yeah. The sixth point described the characteristic properties of the three bodies. Yeah, characteristic or definition of three kayas. First, Dharmakaya simply refers to the exhaustion of all error, the turning away from what is by nature delusory, once the meaning of emptiness, namely the ultimate expanse, has been realized. So here it says, Dharmakaya simply refers to the exhaustion of all error. What is all error? All error is a dualistic perception. So I, and when we have I, we have perception of I, then we have perception of others. And we attach ourselves and we aversion towards others. But Dharmakaya doesn't have. So is this true or not? But usually in the Mahamudra say Vajradhara, and Dzogpa Chimbo says there is Kundazambo, Samhita Badara. So that's where when we hear about Dharmakaya, suddenly perhaps we appear as Vajradhara form in our imagination. Perhaps appear as the Kundazambo. So, but then exhaustion of all error. So how should we connect this definition or explanation and Dharmakaya? Oh, Kundazambo, there is a blue color. That's what we can see in the image, in picture. And Vajradhara, who hold the Vajra and the bells crossed on the heart chakra, and also blue in color. So its color is blue, dark blue. So that's what we appear. But then, some may think, the Buddha has many qualities. In Dharma explains, Dharma scriptures explain profound qualities. But we see Vajradhara and Kundazampo are Kundazampo is almost no more clothes, has no more clothes, something like that. And Vajradhara has few ornaments. So then what is that? We feel like that. So that's where here says exhaustion of all error. Exhaustion means finished, yeah? Finish. So all error means then we start to focus our mind. Kundazampo is in our mind. Vajradhara is in our mind. So perhaps you think, this is a very higher way of teaching. But this is whether it's a higher way of teaching or not, it's reality. Our mind is Kundazampo, our mind is Vajradhara. So that's where Kundazampo and Vajradhara, they are same. We always say same. They are same. They are not different. They are not difference. Also, we say all the Buddhas, like 60 wrathful deities and 42 peaceful deities, they all same. Why? Because they all appear from our mind. So that's where exhaustion of error means when our mind become pure, clear, completely clear, and utterly clear. So then the exhaustion of error means that our mind is completely pure. Complete? Oh, thank you. Okay, so the turning away from what is the by nature delusory and illusion quite similar, yeah? So nature delusory wants the meaning of emptiness. So first, the turning away from what is by nature delusory. So nature delusory is actually related to the afflictive emotions. So afflictive emotion means the definition of afflictive emotion is that emotion arises from our mind or body is uncomfortable. For instance, we have angry emotion when we are angry, angry someone. In the reality, our mind is sorrow, unhappy. And sometimes we think, attachment is pretty good. But in the reality, when attachment arises in the mind, then start to arise jealousy. So jealousy is combination of attachment and angry emotion. So then also greed, the arise emotion of greed because of attachment. And then we feel, attachment is not good emotion in our body or in our life or in our mind, and same angry emotion, but ignorance is pretty okay. So ignorance means completely bland. We don't know what is karma cause and effect. So we can't trust the karma cause and effect. Is the main problem is ignorance. So ignorance is the cause of samsara. So that's where in the 12 links of interdependent origination, it's first, number one is ignorance. It's like the illustrate in this tanka is the or picture is the person who is blind. So that means is there is dangerous place or safety place? Don't know. So because of ignorance, then other afflictive emotions arise. So the ignorance is very dangerous uh, uh, emotion, afflictive, the afflictive emotion. So ignorance, the antidote of ignorance is wisdom. So now we are listening many dharmas, teaching many dharmas. Perhaps sometimes we feel, oh, this is too much. Yes, this is also can accept that. If there is time, each time is too long, and talk more, it's possible. Each period is very long or something. Is a little tired or bored, so forth. Also, but we should know that Buddha said in the Sutara, practice on the practice about 12 links of dependent origination is antidote of ignorance, because that time our wisdom grows from our mind. So it eliminates our ignorance. So we purify ignorance, then we slowly, step by step, well understand karma cause and effect, and then we have enthusiasm to gain, to realize or to know about bodhichitta in details, and then we love to practice bodhichitta. So that's where sometimes we say, oh, bodhichitta is your retreat cave, retreat hut. When we say that, and your mindfulness is the retreatants, practitioner who are inside, and attentiveness is your guide. So that's at that time you heard, oh, bodhichitta is my retreat hut. You are happy. That means you purify some obscurations. So the obscuration, ignorance. So that's that's why first we like to know about bodhicitta, and then slowly we gain some interesting to practice that, and then we will experience when we practice bodhicitta. When we practice bodhicitta, there's no I. Otherwise, I'm a headache, I have problem, I have something. So all problems bring by self-cherishing or self-grasping. So if we are freed, we have freed from self-grasping, which means selflessness, and then there's no. If we shoot some arrows in the space, no problem. If we place a target there and shoot the arrow, perhaps this arrow break that target. So we should become target of afflictive the suffering or not, or the afflictive thoughts or not, is we should gain the realization of selflessness or not. And then what is different? You talk too loud about bodhicitta, selflessness, and laws, karma cause and effect. What is the relationship between there? Maybe you have this question in your mind. Right now you can't say directly, but maybe you have this question. The answer is, if you have this question, how should we understand this? Oh, karma cause and effects. So that means we come into the rule, or we keep the discipline, or we follow the law of this, or how to say, law of the karma. So okay, if I do this, it harms. Sooner or later, it harms to me. If I follow this way, sooner or later, I can gain great happiness. So that's where don't engage negative karma, but practice good karmas. The meaning is this. And then slowly as we start to talk about bodhicitta. What is that bodhicitta? I suddenly say, gain the realization of selflessness and purify self-grasping. Some already they are very ready to mutual become like enlightened about these things, this realization. So that's where they, yeah, of course, some, but just very few, like King Indrabudhi. King Indrabudhi, when he realized something and he liberated, there is a say, so it's a very instantaneously became great realizer and also liberated from samsara. But the most of us, we should step by step liberate. We should realize step by step. So that's where then we are talking about bodhicitta. Okay, when we are talking about bodhicitta at that time, we are tied by grasping, very strong rope of grasping. It's very tight. So to open that knots is second is method is bodhicitta. So how should it untied or open these knots? Is that may all beings have happiness. At that time, our attention is completely the other side. So that at least at that moment we forget I. We forget we, or I forget I. So that way at that moment we have a less suffering. Less suffering. Or we don't have suffering because we forget grasping. And then selflessness. Then perhaps you may think, okay, then only talking about the bodhicitta is okay. Why are you going to talk about selflessness again and again? At that, selflessness means a very higher realization. So bodhicitta make loose the rope of the grasping. So selfless, but when we generate bodhicitta towards others, we have no problem. We are freedom from the suffering. But again, we focus ourselves towards us, and then again we have self-grasping, and then some harsh words destroy to our mind, or some negative actions, or these painful situations harm to us. But then selflessness means that then we understand entirely there is no self, and that means we gained this realization decisively. That's why in the so there different the layers order is like that. So we should recognize step by step, but then it doesn't take so long. It's first for 1 year only practice about karma cause and effect. Second year practice bodhicitta. Third year practice selflessness. Not like that. One day, in the one time, you can practice one by one. Practice them step by step, okay? And then we're as being realizations, okay. One's meaning of emptiness, namely the ultimate expense, has been realized. However, as such, Dharmakaya is simply a term representing a conceptual convention. In real essence, there is no Dharmakaya whatsoever possessing true existence, either as Dharmakaya, as characteristic properties of Dharmakaya, or as anything that could serve as a base for properties of Dharmakaya. Since it is like that, this is how my guru Milarepa explained it. So Milarepa, my guru means Gampopa said, my guru Milarepa. So in the reality, where's Dharmakaya? As I said, there's no Dharmakaya outside of our body and mind. So first I told you this Dharmakaya is in the mind. But then we research where is the Dharmakaya in our mind. Then at that time we are on the stage of the ultimate truth. So that's where here says there is no Dharmakaya. There is no Dharmakaya. Who said that? It said Gampopa. Gampopa heard from Milarepa. Milarepa told to Gampopa. So how Milarepa told Tundam Dimpa Wang Chena Gikpu Sanje Ni Jami. So then Lami Indemi Tavideng. So that means in the ultimate level there is no Buddha, there is no God, the ghost in the ultimate level. But then there are big misunderstandings. That's we already discussed. Yeah, the King of Samadhi Sutara, it says, someone think something exists, or something there is nothing exists. So who think there is something exists? They are better than that some thought there is nothing exists. The reason is we say something, oh, there is something exist, which means they still believe in karma cause and effect. Or if I do this, and then it's not okay because I will experience the result of that karma. But something, there is no karma, there is no next life, there is no birth, there is no death. So this is this misunderstanding. So that's where what. But then there here says Milarepa told to the Gampopa, in the ultimate level there is no Dharmakaya, which means in the Heart Sutra it says there is no attainment and there is no non-attainment. So this realization is very difficult to gain this realization. And also in the 37 way of Bodhisattva, it says the Avalokiteshvara who gain that all phenomena neither come nor go. Neither come nor go. So that's where our mind is neither come nor go. Our mind is birthless and deathless. So Dharmakaya, here it says there's no Dharmakaya, but in the reality there's it's beyond perception, is beyond the thoughts, beyond the mentioned. So that's when Milarepa said that, and dividing it into the various aspects. Dharmakaya has 8 characteristic qualities, namely being identical. Okay, so dividing it into its various aspects, Dharmakaya has 8 characteristics. Oh, here says there's no Dharmakaya, but then right after it says Dharmakaya has 8 characteristics. What is that? So that means right now we think, oh, there is a Dharmakaya. So through this way it explains that. We think, oh, Dharmakaya, we have a Dharmakaya because Vajradhara is Dharmakaya, Kunjazambo is Dharmakaya. We think like that. So and in this case, then it has 8 characteristics qualities. Characteristic qualities, namely being identical. Okay, number 1. Number 2, profound. Number 3, permanent. Number 4, unitary. Number 5, red pure. Number 6, luminous. And then what? Number 7, and linked to the enjoyment body. I think total 8. Yeah. It identical in as much as there are no differences among the Dharmakaya of the various Buddhas. So being identical means like a equality, yeah, equal, I think, equality. So what it says, it is identical in as much as there are no difference among the Dharmakayas of the various Buddhas. Okay. East, for example, Vajrasattva, then Rana Sambhava in the south, in the west, Amitabha Buddha, north, Amangasiddhi. So we say there are different Buddhas, Maitreya Buddha, or this Vairochana, and so forth. But all of their Dharmakaya are same. It's like there are 7 pot, 7 cups. So each and every the cups has inside of these cups has a space, empty space. So the cups have different size and different colors. So the from outside we can judgment, oh, this is big, this is small, but inside of the space are same. No color, no different by colors, no different by size, and so forth. Likewise, all Buddhas, Dharmakaya are same. So that's where this is number 1. Number 2, profound. Yeah. No. It is profound because it is difficult to realize, having nothing to do with the conceptual elaboration. So this is very important. So profound. Why Dharmakaya is a very why is the Dharmakaya is very difficult to recognize? We explain through many times if we try to explain through in different times, but it's not easy to understand because this is very profound. So that's where it says profound. That's where conceptual elaboration. Conceptual, nothing to do with conceptual elaboration. Conceptual elaboration means we create, we make different things, yeah? So in the Dharmakaya is unelaboration. But conceptual elaboration means we create different ways. So that's where we try to gain the realization of Dharmakaya, but we doing other side of those things. So it's very profound and hard to it's difficult to realize, yeah. Then number 3, it is permanent because it is not composed, yeah. So permanent, actually in Buddhism says all phenomena are impermanent. So but here says permanent. What is that? So same name, permanent, but they are different, understand. So this permanent is birthless and deathless. So generally permanent is not impermanence. Always stay in front of our eyes or our perceptual, conceptual elaboration. Perceptual, yeah, conceptual elaboration. But this is the wrong. So that's where. Then next is it is permanent because it is without coming into being or cessation. Yeah, it is without beginning, middle, or end. It is unitary because it is indivisible, the ultimate expanse. This means that in ultimate way there's indivisible. We cannot make different things and through our conceptual elaboration. Emptiness. The emptiness I talked about this. So, and it's pristine awareness, being inseparable. So pristine awareness means our paramount wisdom, which is called pristine awareness. It is right because it is without error, since it is transcends the two extremes of mention, and exaggeration. So that means this is perfect or without error. The reason is transcend. Transcend means beyond. In Tibetan, say "chumdin de" or something like this. Transcend. The transcend the two extremes of underestimation, which means think that something is smaller or less important than it actually is. So Buddha has profound qualities, but then we say, oh, Buddha has no more qualities. Something like that, yeah? And then exaggeration means the small things, so then we exaggerate, oh, there's profound things. So the Dharmakaya is beyond of them. It is pure because it is free from the pollution of the three obstructions, namely the afflictions and the knowledge obstructions and the impediments to meditative attainment. So in simple way, what is the afflictive emotion? What is different between the afflictive emotion and knowledge of obscuration? Knowledge of obscuration is a subtle afflictive emotion or seed of afflictive emotion. Afflictive emotion, we know anger, attachment, self-pride, ignorance, jealousy, and greed, doubt, and so forth. And then obscuration, so afflictive emotion covered the wisdom of the liberation from lower realms. We cannot liberate from lower realms, and we cannot reach higher realms, because if we have a strong emotion, for example, if we have a strong anger emotion, then the embodiment of this anger emotion is hell realm. If we have very strong greed, this embodiment is hunger ghost realm. If we have very thick, strong ignorance, this embodiment is animal realm. So that's where 6 realms are in our body. So then we have strong jealousy. It's related about the demigod realm. We have self-pride. Then this is related God's realm. We have strong attachment. This is related to human realm. So that's where 6 realms are also in our body, because we have the seed of these 6 realms. That's where we do the burning way of afflictive emotion, affliction. So that means in Tibet called Changcho, so fire puja. At that time, it burns the seed of the 6 realms. So when we practice, then if we understand the meaning of these, are very helpful. So the knowledge of obscuration means we have Dharmakaya. So we have a paramount wisdom or pristine awareness, but not yet it blossoms. The blossoms are not yet open them from our mind, because of knowledge of obscurations. They're covered. So then the impediment to meditative attainment. So that means in simple way, what is this? What are they? Is the agitation or dullness, is obstacle of meditation. And then this another is agitation and agitation and dullness. This is also the mm, uh, impediments. They are impediments. And also another is these five expels. It's one engaged to killing one's parents, or this destroy the stupa, or some too much criticize one's guru, or breaks in samaya with the guru. So those things, there are five expels. So these, if one engage the five expels, they directly, they don't travel through, when they die, they don't travel through bardo. They directly rebirth or reborn in lower realms. So, but these are pretty easy to prevent. So, and less, how to say, engage with those. Those means these five expels, but these the dullness and agitation, they often occur during our meditation. So they are the opposite of meditation. If we have agitation, then we cannot focus single-pointedly towards our meditation object. If we have dullness, and then we fall through our clarity. So we should purify them. It is luminous clarity, free of conceptuality. It is focused on non-conceptual suchness. It is linked to the enjoyment body. It is a base for the enjoyment body, Sambhogakaya, which is the very expression of its vast qualities. Expression means showing or illustrating. So what is the Sambhogakaya? Sambhogakaya is actually, one Buddha has three kayas. So for us in the Vajrayana, where we say we have our aggregates are five aggregates are the five family Buddhas. So form is the one Buddha. So we have Sambhogakaya because the wind, we have the wind elements. So wind elements has outer wind elements and inner wind elements. So inner wind elements also that has different. There are numbers of inner wind elements. So that's where we through our practice, the wind becomes pure, and eventually we have the essence of wind in our body. So this wind we call wisdom wind. Usually we have wind when we are eating, talking, and walking. That we call them that the karmic wind. So that's where we cultivate negative karmas. But we have wisdom wind, and then slowly we have a special this because this wisdom wind travels through our channels, and then we experience great bliss. So then this wisdom wind and our mind unions and work together. At that time we experience great joy, happiness. So that's where in the Sambhogakaya means that. So inner Sambhogakaya, secret, and then outer Sambhogakaya, we see like a Vajrasattva. There are 32 minor and 80 major marks. There are wonderful qualities and ornaments, but these ornaments on the yidams, there are wonderful ornaments are part of our, in simple way we can say these are the parts of our parts of our feeling, but these feelings are the feeling of happiness, joy, and bliss. So these feelings are not just conceptual elaboration or normal feelings. So these Sambhogakaya is engaged over wind elements. Nirmanakaya is engaged over earth elements or channels. So then Dharmakaya is engaged over mind, is actually with the element of space. So it's engaged over mind. So three kayas are not outside, and our guru is not outside. Our mind is not outside. So that's where then if one says, what is the example of the kayas, three kayas, or what is the example of our mind? In the Mahamudra, actually they're all same way explained, but in the Mahamudra, most of the time syllable Hong. So what is your mind? Hong syllable. In the also in the Dzogpa Chimbo, especially these Manjushri, what is called that? Here says syllable A is the super excellent syllable. So because it's neither come nor go, because we cannot find where it is, it was coming and where it is going, but from syllable A, all the syllables occur from syllable A. So eventually A and Hong are no different. So that's why how many times we talked about these things, but they are all included in our mind. So there are thousands of sentences or these pages or chapters, but eventually included like one book. Similarly, every these Buddha's qualities and qualities of our mind, qualities of phenomena, they're all in our mind. So that's where we should respect ourselves, but don't engage self-pride. And keep more happiness, especially in this degenerated time. We should keep happiness. Many people are engaged, depressions, suffer because of different situations. But we have Buddha nature in the mind. So we should keep confidence, happy, and then our main responsibility is try to benefit other beings. Okay? So now we will stop here and let us dedicate all merits for welfare of all mother sentient beings. This dedication, I think we do which page? Page number 28, yeah. Chanchu semjo renpo je ma je ba nan je je ba nyam ba me ba ya go ne gong de be war jo.
May bodhichitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
Thank you so much. May your bodhichitta increase higher and higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Khenpo, and thank you to everyone that joined us online. Have a good week.